Bunnahabhain Distillery was founded by the Islay Distillery Company in 1881 near Port Askaig on Islay, near the village of Bunnahabhain, which was founded to house its workers. The name Bunnahabhain is an Anglicization of a Scottish Gaelic term that means mouth of the river, as the distillery stands at the mouth of the Margadale Spring on the shores of the Sound of Islay. In 1963, a second pair of stills were installed to increase production capacity, and in 1979, the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old single malt Scotch whisky was introduced. In the year 2003, the distillery was purchased by Burn Stewart Distillers, and 3 years later they launched the 18-year-old and 25-year-old bottlings. In 2010, they changed the style of the whiskey and returned to producing non-chill filtered whiskeys with natural color at 46.3% alcohol by volume. In 2014, Burn Stewart merged with Distill, which heralded more investment into both the brand and the distillery. Bunnahabhain is the only distillery on the island to use pure spring water drawn from Margadale River via pipes that lead directly to the distillery. Bunnahabhain uses two types of barley depending on which whiskey they are making. For non-peated whiskeys, they use non-peated concerto malted barley, and for a Moine, they use peated concerto malted barley. Both barley types are passed through the Porteous mill, which grinds it into grist before being transferred into their mash tun for mixing with heated spring water. The mash tun at Bunnahabhain is one of the largest in Scotland. It holds 12.5 tons and is made of stainless steel with a copper top. The grist from the Porteous mill and the heated water is mixed in a mash cycle that lasts 12 hours, during which time the wort, a sweet liquid, is produced. Bunnahabhain has 6 Oregon pine washbacks, each with a capacity of 66,500 liters. The fermentation can last as long as 100 hours, as a cooled wort and yeast react to produce a weak alcohol solution called a wash, and a bit like a strong beer, most washes are 8 to 9% alcohol by volume. The natural bacteria within the wood interacts with the yeast and sugars to create additional layers of flavor, not achieved by more modern methods and technology. Once fermentation is complete, the wash is moved to the wash stills, where it is heated to the point of evaporation. This evaporation rises to the top of the still, flows down the curved lye pipe to the condenser where it is cooled, and runs on to the low wine's receiver. At this stage, the solution is too weak and impure to be cast, so it is redistilled in a second still called a spirit still. Bunnahabhain has the tallest stills on Islay, which have unusually long swan necks, which enables them to produce a lighter, more delicate flavor profile. The second distillation flows through the spirit safe, where the stillmen watch for the anticipated middle cut, rejecting the first and final parts of the run. The middle cut, or heart of the run, is stored in the spirit receiver for casking, while the rest is returned to be redistilled. The heart becomes the new make spirit and has the perfect percentage of alcohol for taking to the next stage of the process, which is maturation. The stills have a total annual production capacity of around 2.5 million liters. The new make is transferred to the spirit vat, where water from the natural spring is added. The new make is then decanted into the highest quality bourbon, sherry, and red wine casks and laid to rest in the coastal warehouses, where they sit along the Sound of Islay. Some of the warehouses date back to 1881 and together have a capacity of 20,700 butts, hogsheads, and barrels. Alrighty, I hope you have been enjoying my videos and follow me along on my trek through Scotland. I have been learning a lot and re-going over the videos, going over my notes and so forth, and I've been really benefiting from this. And I look forward to going back to Scotland, hopefully in July 2019. All right, from my trip to Islay and visiting Bunnahabhain Distillery, I picked up this Feis Ile edition This is the Bunnahabhain Moine Oloroso matured cask. It's bottled at 59.5% alcohol by volume. It was distilled in the year 2007. I did a live uncorking of this already, and I mean, just as soon as it was opened, this whole area right here, hovering above my table, was just full of a good smoky, chocolatey goodness. I mean, without even sticking my nose up to the glass, absolutely fantastic. Some whiskeys need a little time to open up and so forth. This one, right out the front door, it was good to go. But the one thing I did think it needed is a little bit of water. So I'm going to add, actually, 3 teaspoons, and that's more than what I typically put. Kind of been toying around with it after I did the live uncorking, and this is a super concentrated, densely flavored and aromaed whiskey. It is powerful, and I'm not just talking about the alcohol, I'm talking about the boom of flavors and aromas. Salted chocolate, caramel. There is a kind of a bacon character to it, almost like a chocolate covered bacon. Definitely a lot of sea breeze, salty sea breeze, a little bit of a nuttiness. There's almost a peanut butter character to it. Very intense dried black fruits. And actually a little bit of an earthiness. There is a black coal character to it. Some grilled stone fruits, peaches, apples. The smoke is really well integrated into everything. So it's not like you're just getting a big face full of smoke, but rather the chocolate, the fruit, and the smoke and the saltiness are really well integrated. Slight brininess, but just seductive. I don't describe too many whiskeys as seductive. This is a seductive whiskey. All right, let's get to the palate. If I was tasting this blind, I would know it was from Islay, but I wouldn't anticipate it being Bunnahabhain. Bunnahabhain, my first Bunnahabhain was a Bunnahabhain 12. Tend to be a little lighter in peat in comparison to the other Islay distilleries. But it's not medicinal like some of the southern Islay distilleries, particularly Lefroy. I could probably put a couple more teaspoons on this. 3 teaspoons, still a slight little tingle. The intensity and concentration of the flavor has only been turned down a couple notches. I mean, we joke about, you know, the volume being turned up to not only 10 but gone to 11. This is at like 15 in terms of intensity of flavor. Adding 3 teaspoons has only brought it back to 11. I could probably add a couple more and it would only take it down to 10. It is probably one of the best Islay whiskeys I have ever had. It is, I would describe as dangerously delicious and just a spectacular whiskey. If you go into Islay in the near future and get a chance to visit Bunnahabhain and you can get a bottle of this, I highly recommend this. I'm going to give this 97 points. This will be the most highly rated whiskey, the highest score that I have ever given. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you are enjoying my trip through Scotland. I miss it. I left my heart in Scotland. My body's here in the United States, but my heart's still back there. And I'm really just dying, very eager to get back. Alrighty, that's it for this review. If you subscribe to this channel, I want to thank you very much. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you would. And hit the bell, and you will be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. And until next time, cheers. If you have benefited from my wine or whiskey studies and you wish to support this ongoing work, I ask that you become a Patreon supporter. The link to my Patreon account is in the description box below.